is Eva for Once Upon a Timeline. Welcome, everybody. Looks like we are live. Let's see who's here. I know a lot of people came in early today. Apparently, you guys actually got the notifications, at least some of you. Kai Lucas Zachary is 2 hours, was 2 hours early. Cupie. What If I Told You? Ghosty333. Dark Wolf Stan. Lord Frybread. T-Box. Divorce Schwartz. Autumn Nichols. Jacqueline M. Susan Gunther Photography. David. Oh, oops, already got that one. Sean Allen. I think that's everybody. All right, so Ghosty333 was already talking about an interesting one. And we've covered a little bit on this kind of thing before, and that is the underwater rivers. So there's rivers underneath lakes, rivers under rivers. Now, I saw this maybe 5 years ago, and they say the salinity is different. But what I saw back then was just a little area of pokey moving water. When it first came out, it was just sitting there like a lake under a lake. Now it's a river under a lake. So apparently now there's this Black Sea undersea river, and it's gotten a lot more vigorous. Ghosty333 found this one. Black Sea Undersea River. The undersea river stems from salty water spilling through Bosphorus Strait from the Mediterranean Sea into the Black Sea, where the water has lower salt content. So let's take a look at that. Right here is the Black Sea. This thing is looking huger to me than ever. This is Caspian Sea here, and it's also slinking over here close to the Mediterranean Sea. It used to be out this a ways. It was a lot smaller, didn't have this big dent in it. This thing wasn't so long and skinny. These here are like rivaling the Mediterranean Sea now. That was not the case before. And Black Sea did not used to be tickling the Mediterranean Sea either. It looks like it's almost part of the Mediterranean now, and it's huge. So that's why I guess this river can happen now. So basically they're saying that somewhere in here, Strait of Bosphorus, this water is like spilling this way. I don't understand why they wouldn't just equalize, but apparently this is spilling into Black Sea and then cruising really fast across the sea. I don't get why it doesn't just, in the old days the salt would have just diffused into the lake, and the lake would be saltier maybe at this end than that end. It wouldn't flow. I don't know, is there a downhill slope there maybe or something? Anyways, it's kind of weird, but so this is interesting statement here. This is the wiki. Because of the power and unpredictability of these streams, they have been difficult to explore directly. So apparently they are very fast moving now. Though smaller than the Amazon channel, the undersea rivers still carry 10 times more water than the Rhine. This is for another one in, let's see. Oh, no, I think that's still for this one. It flowed at speed of 4 miles per hour with 22,000 cubic meters per second. It had been a surface river. It would have ranked as the 6th largest river in the world. Okay, yeah, they're still talking about this Black Sea thing. Just supposedly just discovered in 2010. I find it hard to believe that they wouldn't have known about this earlier. There's a giant river flowing very rapidly under this lake, and they didn't even know. All right, the river was found to contain features typical of surface rivers, such as river banks, floodplains, waterfalls, and rapids. So this is pretty weird business, but I guess it's not really surprising because they've been developing this one for a while. Looks like everybody's coming in. Maybe the timer has started. Only had 3 hours of sleep. Yeah, that's not too good. That might be me tomorrow, actually. The thumbnail to the thumbnail. All right, so good find, Ghosty333. This is a pretty impressive river in here. Uh-oh. It says my stream is stopped, so hopefully it'll kick in again. Wait. No, it just has bad signal. Oh, sorry about that. Okay. A lot of changes, geo changes ongoing. I expect these rivers, I predicted this like a year ago that these rivers would join up to the Mediterranean. I think that we will see that this Caspian Sea eventually joins up or gets really close to the Black Sea, because that's the pattern we've been seeing is these rivers and these lakes are making these inroads like a giant river. See, this area is getting bigger here. Where's that one by Japan? There. This one here. This been snaking in over here. China's got a way to go for rivers snaking in, but this one here, this is all new for me. Going all the way through here. I mean, these lakes here are filling in. I mean, there's hardly any land left holding Norway, Sweden, and Finland on. I think we're gonna find that it's almost an island eventually. But this wasn't all like that. This wasn't. The way everything's lined up, it's becoming like a big long line of water everywhere. Let's see where else. I think we're incubating on that over here. When I first started watching the Emmy almost 3 years ago, this was not all opened out like this. This river was not wide like this. This wasn't like this at all. This was just a regular shoreline with one little tiny blue line coming in, and that was it. So all of this is opened up like this and peeled open since I've been watching it. I think it's going to connect up over here. These two rivers here, these lakes, what did they call these? They were teensy little dum-dum things when I first started watching them. I mean, the Great Lakes were just these three right here. This added section here is now becoming its own lake. I watched that grow. That was not there before. Yeah, I can't remember what they're calling those lakes. Lake Erie. Wait. There's something different about that. Superior, Michigan. I don't remember it like that. What is this thing? It doesn't say. They haven't named that yet. I think that's still part of Huron right now, but I keep thinking that they're going to name it a separate thing. You know, they could easily just add more lakes to the Great Lakes, I think. You have to wonder how many times that. Oh, there's 7 now. What are all 5 Great Lakes? That's what I remember. Why are these? What are all 5 Great Lakes? What are all 7 Great Lakes? Superior, Huron, Michigan, and Erie all approximately the same. Ontario is significantly lower. 2, 3, 4, 5. The 4 upper lakes are commonly called the Upper Great Lakes. This is interesting because I'm trying to figure out what that last one is. Oh, Ontario. That was such a tiny little lake before. And Erie. They were just little bitty. You just saw those. This one was not even there. So if there's 7 of them, where are the other 2? Michigan, here, Ontario. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Where are the 6th and 7th one? If there are 7 Great Lakes, what are the 7? That's weird. They're saying it's 5 here, but that's just interesting if people are asking about the 7. All right, anyway, I'm not really seeing what the 7 is, but we will move on. These were really tiny here, though. I think we're going to see more connection here. And the other thing is, if you look over here, these lakes all along Canada here are growing, and they're kind of in a line also. I think what we're going to see is these connect up. I think that these rivers, you're starting to see a little bit, but it's not really pronounced. Right now, they're just slowly getting larger. You can totally see how there's going to be a line here. All the way across, connect up with the Great Lakes, and then out over here. This region's been doing the reverse. The land has been growing, making this gulf a lot larger. I wondered if it would just split up this way, but I haven't seen any signs of it yet. So anyway, not too much going on over there. For some reason, Florida's getting really small. But you can see again, there's a protected region. The Gulf of Mexico is getting closed in here. This little fang here has been growing quite a bit. The Yucatan has been bending around. So even though Florida got smaller, this has been bending over, and Cuba has been moving in. So that's how that one's getting formed. But you can definitely see this pattern. There's a pattern of water inside of the land here. I know I've discussed this before, but all right. Let's go on to some new stuff here. All right, these ones I really don't know if they're an ME, but it's just weird. There's just a lot of violence in this timeline. Now, apparently in UK they have this thing called, I don't know if I'm saying it right, but Shrovetide, a football game with no rules. So basically, you can just beat on each other. Apparently, anything to get the ball. It's kind of a weird thing because, like, how do you just not end up with a lot of killed people? But so this guy just captured the ball. I assume he's trying to move it to somewhere, but basically everybody just pounces on him and beats the crap out of him. And that's the game. These guys eventually come in here, and I don't know. But basically the whole thing is like this, where there's just fighting all the time, and I don't know. Okay, so apparently there's another one like that in Italy. They actually have a whole arena, and there's two sides, and they all can just kick the crap out of each other, and they can somehow they're supposed to be trying to move this ball. I don't know why everybody doesn't end up in the hospital all the time, but so basically these guys are all just got these guys on the ground while they're laying down there. Start punching on each other and stuff. Anyways, this one's not quite as violent looking as the other one, but there are a lot of images where they just start punching each other and stuff. See if we can get this to load at all. Come on. See what you guys are up to while I'm waiting for that. This timeline, it's sex and violence, very much. It looks like Shrovetide. Well, you know what? The funny thing is, supposedly it's an old UK tradition, Shrovetide. So I don't know. If you look it up, I'm not getting much progress on this one. Let's see. Nope. All right, I'm just gonna nuke that one. I'm not making any progress. Oops, that was one I was looking into, but I wasn't gonna use that one. Shrovetide. How big is Shrovetide anyway? Shrovetide. Shrove Tuesday and the 2 days preceding it. Royal Shrovetide football game in Ashbourne. Okay, so it's kind of an Ashbourne thing. Medieval football. Anyway, on Shrove Tuesday. Shropshire football played between two towns in Derby is often credited with being the source of the term local derby. A more widely accepted origin theory is the Derby horse race. All right. Anyways, there you go. So it's in Ashbourne in Derbyshire. I think I pronounced that right. I think it's Derbyshire, right? I'm not 100% on that one. Okay, what is this thing that was the thumbnail? It's the Elora Caves. This thing is basically cut out of the living rock. I did see just this part maybe a year ago, and I totally pegged that as an Emmy at the time. And let's see, who pulled this one up? Who was this one? This was Bob Bobertson, and he mentioned this one. It's grown a lot since I first saw it because, I mean, this is one story right here. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like 7 stories high, cut out of the living rock. But then this called Elora Caves because all up around here, there's more. All through Elora now, apparently, there's these ridiculous amounts. And I should actually just go through over here and show you some of them. There's some nice videos on it. I didn't play too many of them because I don't want to get copyright strike. It's hard to know where to start.
You got your own car with your own insurance.
Kill the sound on those. Blah, 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 blah. So they're in India, Maharashtra, India. 34 rock-cut Buddhist, Hindu, and Jain temples and monastery from 17th to 10th centuries at Elora. Okay, so you can see this is just little bits of it. They're very large. Not having much luck with YouTube right now. Okay, let's go back to the old way. So you can see how extensive these are. And it looks like there's even more of this outside of this region, outside of Aurangabad. There are additional crazy looking caves all cut out of the living rock, basically. More Elora caves there. Now, the first one I'd ever heard of like this was Petra. And if you look at Petra, there's quite a bit of additional material in Petra now as well. A lot of additional material. Look at that. So there's like 30 different temples, and each one is quite large. There's another one, Visvakarma Cave Temple. These are all carvings here. Here's a faraway view again. This thing is it's insane. Different angle view. Waterfall plus caves. Can you imagine living like the, I mean, that'd be cool. Living in there with that waterfall right there. More carvings. Apparently some damage on there. More. I mean, it just goes on and on. I mean, this is ridiculous that you wouldn't have heard of this. Look at this. There's a close-up. They look kind of crude from far away, but as you get closer, they look like pretty nice carvings in there. More of them. I mean, I can just click on this, and there's almost no overlap in what I'm clicking on. That's what's so amazing. Another one. Anyway, yes, I could go on forever. Look at this one. Wow, look at that one. You just don't get tired of it. Anyways, so this guy, you know, you think, obviously it's it can't be just excavated because it's huge. But I was looking them up, and they're saying that they were discovered in 1819 by a British officer named John Smith. Okay, so they're not new. There's just too much of it to be new anyways, but as you can see, it's just ridiculous. All right, so anyways, very good find. Like I said, it was just the one big temple when I first saw it, which I think was, let's see if I can find that main one. It was just this one right here that I saw the first time, not all these other million ones. All right. Let's see what everybody's... You can look at the creepy pictures while I see what everybody's up to. Predictive texting got the better of my sentence. I wonder if there's a way to shut that off. I've said such dumb things thanks to autocorrect, and it always does the correction right while you're pushing the send button. Well, I see somebody's complaining about my channel just showing effects. I actually want to just say that I do agree that ideally we would do more than just showing effects. But to anybody who is complaining about me just showing effects, then show me what you're doing other than just looking at effects, because I have heard some complaints from certain areas that we should be doing more, and some people saying they're going to do more, but I have not seen any of the more. So other than looking for effects and looking for patterns and effects, I don't want to hear any complaining unless those people have actually done more than that. I mean, it's pretty interesting about people complaining about channels not doing more, and those channels are not doing more either. Okay. So anyways, on to the thing. This is another pattern that I'm really seeing, and something like this was on Reddit just today. Apparently these two-headed calves are showing up. There's multiple across even just the USA in this year for some reason. And some of these are being born live, and they're not saying how long they live, but there's definitely ones that have lived like at least a few days, which doesn't seem long. But nothing like this would live in my old timeline. I never even saw anything like that in my old timeline. But there's a lot of images. These are all different calves. Now, this one was alive for a while. Have not heard of it dying. I think this is the same one. So there's like this one eye in the middle here that seems to be very popular. Now, if you start looking lately, you'll just see two-headed everything. I think what we're going to see is that, see, this one's not dead. We're going to start to see these heads separate more. The other thing I'm seeing is a single eye in the center has gotten very common compared to before, which you'd never saw it. So you start typing in polycephalic, and there are, what the heck is that? Another creepy bat. There are so many animals now coming out like that. Snakes, lizards. This thing, I don't know how it lives. I mean, where's the butt? But this is not a dead thing. There's a lot like that, and even really separated heads now. This thing, how does it live? I'd never seen a two-headed species styled like that until just recently. There was a thing I saw saying that it's very common in cats. Common. to have, and I did mention before they even have a name for it in cats. It's Jane cats. So I think we're going to see a lot of them. Now the heads are almost totally separated on this one. And it does not look like it's dead. So I don't know. I don't know. You can see they're separating better and better now too. They're very separated. Another one. I don't know where we're heading with all this, but two-headed things I think are going to be a big deal in the upcoming timeline for whatever reason. All right, so there's that. Okay, other things that are weird are just other kinds of very weird, I guess you'd call them deformities. Look at this. This looks like out of a sci-fi. Supposedly it's a birthmark, but it grows hair. But very interesting. It's just not your boring old birthmark, though. You had to have, I mean, it just looks like something, like he's half one creature and half another or something. It is just not a normal birthmark. That's all I have to say. Very surreal. Very surreal. I mean, it really just looks like a movie prop to me. But this is supposedly real. And it's interesting because only a little tiny bit of it really even looks like a defect. It really looks natural. I mean, it looks like he belongs like that or something. It's just weird. All right, and then there's one more here. This very weird birth defect apparently was operated on, but it's just weird. It's like it's a turtle. I mean, it's very symmetrical on the back and stuff. So I've just never. The birth defects are not just huge, but they're also strangely, like if that child was on Star Trek and they said that was just an alien and they had weird backs, you would accept that. It looks like it's just another species. It doesn't really look like a defect. So that is one thing I've been really noticing about them. Now they made glow cats. I've heard about that. That was a couple years ago. Do I remember 364 days a year? No, I remember 365 days a year for me. At least the last 5 or 10 years, it's been 365 for me. I don't think I really paid attention before that, but if it changed, it was before at least 5 years ago for me. Hairy tongue disease, Kurt Harner. I actually covered that just maybe a month ago, where I also saw it, and I agree with you that hairy tongue disease. No, that we didn't have that before. Hammerhead bat. Yeah, that one's been covered. I swear it looks weirder every time I look at it, though. Lots of three-eyed cows now. Yep. Three-horned ones showing up. I'll tell you that the horns in general used to be very symmetrical, and a lot of animals now, I've noticed that the horns, even on the just like not deformed ones, are very just kind of haphazard looking. It's almost like how your hair, you never know how it'll look in the morning. That's how the horns are sort of looking on a lot of animals to me, especially the goats. They're just disheveled. They're not symmetrical anymore. And I think that's, kind of a prelude to more and more horns, more and more weirdness. Okay, so let me just see what else we got here. Do-do-do-do. I actually kind of forget. Oh, yeah, I remember what this one was. I saw this one a while ago. If we see if we get this load. Now, this kind of comes down to the pattern I've mentioned before about wild animals becoming more friendly, becoming more pet-like, more kinds of animals being kept as pets, them being a lot more friendly about being pets. All right, now one thing that it started with the cat cafes in Japan, but now what we're starting to see is all these different zoo animals. There's a cat with very weird coloration on it. There, you can see it has like weird black lines on just one foot. You've got a raccoon back here. You have got there was a lot of argument, but a lot of people say that's a wallaby. And there was something else back in there that they recognized that I didn't know what it was. But anyway, so all these animals apparently can be pet and are friendly. So that's kind of a switch off for me, because for me, at least a lot of animals just weren't that nice. I had not heard of anybody petting raccoons. I can't speak on wallabies, but there's just been a lot of creatures now that you couldn't pet them before, and now they're pretty chill about it. If you look at potential exotic animals, a lot of those were animals that you could have them, but they would just bite you. But now, no, nope. Alaska and Russia were 365 miles apart, now 50 miles. I know they were really far apart. I mean, like on the map, there was a lot of water. Now they're like tickling each other. A lot of deer horns, mega weird. Yeah, I covered that one too. Those there's some excuses for it, but there's this new deer disease. Where's that deer disease? Now, it wasn't the chronic wasting disease. There was another one that causes big antlers. See if I can. Darn it! There was a special disease that they were saying caused the. Oh, cactus. Yeah, okay. Cactus antlers. That's it. Cactus antlers. Cactus buck syndrome. Yeesh. They're looking more icky than last time I checked. Yeesh. These are like worse than last time I checked. What was the disease? It causes the antlers to grow all insane. The infamous cactus buck syndrome. Now, last I checked, nobody ever heard of it. Oh, yes, caused by excess testosterone. So what is cactus buck syndrome? Unbalanced testosterone levels. Now, there was no infamous cactus buck syndrome. And these are grosser looking than any of the ones I saw before. So it just causes their antlers to grow insane. So that guy's just got a big blob on top of its head. Now, some of them just grow insane numbers of antlers. Interestingly, I'm not seeing that. Cactus antlers. I'm not seeing that this time. Images. So let's just take a gander at cactus buck syndrome again. So sometimes they look like cactuses. So supposedly that's where it came from. I don't think that's supposed to be one. Yeah, there's a lot more of it now than when I first saw it. It looks a lot more cactusy as well. Gross. So this was what causes the supposedly the antlers to grow all insanely like this. There's another one. Anyways, it's just getting a lot more ridiculous with these things. Ooh, check that thing out. All right, anyways. There we go with the cactus bug syndrome. Have you heard of the theory that birds aren't real? No, I haven't. I've heard of the theory that the world isn't real, so that would make birds not real. And I would not be shocked if it wasn't at least not real the way we always assumed. Petra, when I went, was only one monument. Oh, let's just get straight to Petra, shall we? I had it saved on here somewhere. I think that it's the newer one that I was just... Petra Beyond the Facade. Thirsty today. Oh, computer's slow or something. All right, here we go. This was one I was originally planning to have up and some highlights on it, but okay, here it is. The second surprise was learning that the pillared facade of the iconic treasury is only part of Petra's story. The rest of the sprawling 60 square kilometer Rose City is secreted behind it. So this is the one you're used to seeing. Now, I don't remember the top being all separated out like this. I think this is like Mount Rushmore. It's coming out of the rock. When I first saw this, this was all just rock on the top. And I was confused seeing this again because it was all rock on the top, let's just say. It was just like pillars inside the rock. So it's now pulling out fragments of Roman mosaic ruins in the lost city of Petra. So it's not, Petra is not just a couple carved out regions now. It's a lost city of Petra. The Garden Hall in the lost city of Petra. There's some more stuff down there. The city of Petra was lost for over 1,000 years. I don't really get how you lose all that stuff. I mean, it wasn't buried. Oh, okay. Wait a minute. This is what I remember. It's closed in. Like that. Now, let me just look at this photo up here. This one's not enclosed at all up here. So this must be a different carve out. Okay, there we go. This is the one I remember. So the top one is a whole different one. Similar, but that's interesting. So apparently this city is called, sometimes referred to as Rose City. See what images we can find here. All right, so this is the classic one here. We got all those. So it's called Rose City because supposedly the rock is very rosy colored. We've got all those. Quite a bit going on there. Okay, that's the same old one. Okay, I don't remember any of this stuff. Looks like something else is developing over there. I think we're going to see more and more of these. Something going on up there. This one's interesting. That might be the one I saw before that was separated out. Then you first look at that, you think it's the other one, but then it's separated out. But now I see it's actually a whole separate one from the one that's still inside the rock. Ooh, that. All that. Okay, that was a painting, but that's interesting because it shows a lot. So they're saying there's so much material back here. Great temple complex. But there's not a lot of photos of these other facilities. Now, the other thing I saw was Little Petra. So is there going to be another one found somewhere else, maybe? Is an archaeological site north of Petra in the town of Wadi Musa. So let's just see what we got. So Little Petra, I'm betting, is going to be more Petra stuff. Little Petra, yes. So it's not just the one anymore. Little Petra, exploring the tastes. So type that in and you get more. Let's see what we get for the wiki for Little Petra. So if you went all the way down there, you should have heard of all this stuff, one would imagine. You guys who have traveled to Petra. Let's see if this will load here. Mary River turtle breathes through its butt. Yes, we have covered that one. Little Petra is Nabataean site with buildings carved into the walls of the sandstone canyon. As its name suggests, it's much smaller, consisting of 3 wider open areas connected by 400 canyon. It's part of the Petra Archaeological Park, though accessed separately, and included in Petra's inscription as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It's often visited by tourists in conjunction with Petra itself since it's free and usually less crowded. All right, not a lot of photos, but interesting. So Petra has spawned a baby. One guy calculated they would have to carve and remove 65 tons of rock every day for Petra to be built, according to carbon dating info. Interesting. I don't know, because supposedly it was just centuries and centuries on that. But if you look at that one we were looking at before, what was that one called? Ellora Caves. There's a lot more material removed out of that one even. I mean, why is Petra so famous and then nobody heard of Ellora Caves when Ellora Caves is a lot more extensive? And that's one of the things Bob Bobertson was asking about too. Why is Mandela effect occurring? You know, there's like a million theories. Everything from it's in the Bible, so it's, you know, the whole Bible story. Or some people think CERN did it because CERN screwed up The evil overlords are doing it. The government's doing it. It's natural evolution. Nibiru, the planet X, is coming back into range and messing with time-space continuum. Now, I don't know. We're all just guessing. We're guessing. It'd be nice if we had something much to go on, but I don't really think we do. I mean, there's a lot of people say this is why, but it's their opinion. They don't have any evidence to prove it. The 12-finger family. I don't think I've seen them yet. 12-finger. Yeah, that's another very much commonality in this timeline. A lot of people have extra fingers. I don't know why that looks kind of cool, actually. The 12-finger family. This looks like very functional bunch of finger fam. Look at that. Very functional looking batch of fingers there. Share this genetic mutation for 6 fingers. Like 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 6 there. Okay, so the De Silva family. Yeah, I've not heard of that one. Extra fingers seem really common in this timeline. In my old timeline, nobody had them. It was just considered really weird, like kind of like you're really deformed. And I think the storyline now is, they're pretty common, but people just had them cut off before when they were born. But they seem like they're just a lot more common in this timeline. Never heard of the 12-finger family. Yeah, I know, and that's something that's totally the kind of thing I would so be interested in. Antarctica has a lot of lakes. Yeah, that just used to be frozen. Yeah, that's now that you bring it up, Ghosty 333. That's a good point. The North and South poles were frozen like rocks before, and then they said that there might be water running under the glacier, causing the glaciers to slide faster. And then pretty soon there was rivers on top of the glacier, and then there was lakes on top of the glacier, and then more lakes. My old timeline, it was cold. There was ice. That was it. There was no water. There was no running water up there unless it was salt water. There was no freshwater lakes, no freshwater rivers, none of that baloney because it's freaking cold. So I don't know. That's all a big fat ME. That's all I have to say. I was freaked out when my thumb moved down and our hands looked like lizard hands. Yeah, it's funny because it was Mandela affected that noticed the first hand change, and then once I started looking, I saw other things. But I had been looking at my hand before that, just like I don't know. I just looked at it like I don't know how to describe it. It just looked kind of something, and I didn't even put it together that it was a Mandela effect, but I had been looking at it. And it's weird like that because that happens a lot where my attention gets caught by something, but weirdly you would think by now I'd jump immediately to looking to Mandela effects, but I don't always. I just look at it and there's something, and then I'll just stop. And then later someone will go, oh, this is an ME, and I'm like, duh. It's like it's still hard to see sometimes. All right, let's see what we got here. All right, Petra, that was done. Here it is. This one was interesting because they've been working on this story. You know, Neanderthals used to just be depicted as these imbeciles, and slowly they've been saying, oh, they actually had a bigger brain, they're smarter, blah blah blah. So now they're pretty much accepting that they're just at least as smart as us. Maybe they just inbred. The last few years we've had this whole inbreeding with Neanderthals DNA thing. Now, unfortunately, this is not the article I hope to find. Let's see if I can find it. Maybe it was supposed to be hominids. Okay. I think it's this one. Here we go. So this is the depiction now of the Neanderthals, apparently. Neanderthals. What's weird is this just doesn't look like the Neanderthal that I remember. That the brow ridge is not really there. I mean, it doesn't look that different from a regular human. It used to look, I mean, it's a little bit bunched up here, but I mean, it looks pretty human-like. If he had his hair kind of flopped down so you didn't really see how much this is pulled back, you probably wouldn't really think twice. And I don't remember them being depicted that human-like. So this is an interesting one for me. I'm sure that the supposed bone structures of these guys have also changed. But anyway, I heard that Eva came from a place without a daytime moon. Question, was there solar eclipse there? We had solar eclipse only at extreme polar regions. You could not see it in the middle of like where I live. You couldn't see it at North America. You would have to travel to see them. They were very rare. Then somehow I mean, we never had them. I never saw one until recently because we didn't have them here. And it just was, a little bit expensive for me to travel and try to see them. This is interesting. A lot of people remember the 364 planet. I'm really on the fence about that because it sounds kind of familiar. But I'm just wondering if it was like way back when I really wasn't paying attention to the number of days. But for me, it was always that you would use your fist to count the days. So the high, it would be January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. And all of the bump days would be 31, and then the valley days would be 30. And I assume that still works. Last I checked, like 6 months ago, it still worked. If that stops working, I'm totally going to flip out. Does anybody remember how many moons the big planets in the solar system had? Ooh, I just was not that much of a astronomy buff, but I'll tell you that Pluto did not have any moons in my old timeline. That one I know. The new Neanderthal looks like a Hollywood actor. Yeah, it's just a little bit of extra brow ridge right here, right above the eye, and that's like it. I mean, if a human looked like that, that person could pass for human. You might think he looks a little weird, but you wouldn't be like, oh, it's a Neanderthal or it's a proto-human. You wouldn't. The moon is so crazy, isn't it, in our atmosphere now? Yeah, they talked about that last week. They suddenly said that for 20 years they had neglected to notice that some of their data shows that the atmosphere extends out not just past the moon, but way past the moon. I wanted to bring that up now that you mentioned that. This kind of fits one of the patterns I've seen. In fact, it very much fits one of the patterns I've seen. Now, I am very much aware that both the sun and the moon look weird now, and the way the clouds travel across them look weird because they sort of look transparent when they're going over, especially the moon. And so a lot of people were saying, and I can see why they said this because it kind of looks like it, that the moon must be in our atmosphere because the clouds are traveling behind it. Now, I wasn't really sold on that. I wasn't sold on that idea because I thought that the clouds were just becoming transparent as they went in front of the moon, whereas they did not used to do that. But I mean, I don't know what to think anymore. But I did not assume that the moon was in our atmosphere at all, and it didn't used to look like that, though, certainly. But so for like 2 years now, I've been hearing these people, oh, the moon's in our atmosphere. You can tell by looking. I'm like, I don't really feel like you can tell anything anymore, not even by looking. But now, after 2 years of that on YouTube and that conspiracy theory, now they come out with, hey, guess what? The moon really is in our atmosphere. That is a very suspicious coincidence. Very suspicious. And one of the reasons I really look at the rumors like mud floods is even if no matter how ridiculous they sound, they've been coming through it. At least through some of them have been coming true. And so this mud flood thing is exploded. Mud fossil thing. I mean, how many people really were even going to accept that? Even the ME could come along and say, hey, guess what? The moon's in our atmosphere. But the Mandela is very sneaky because they do it in a way that sounds plausible, and it sounded ridiculous when people were saying that, and now it's true, it's accepted. So, what is going to happen with all this mud floods, mud fossils thing? Should be very interesting. I think if it follows the pattern, we're going to see something out of it, some official announcement that that mudslides were common, or who the heck knows. But I think we'll see something because it's just the pattern that first they say that it's just a crazy theory. The theory takes over. You hear it 50 times on the internet. Then it becomes fact. It's very weird for me. So anyways, that Earth atmosphere thing is another example of that. Okay. Was there anything else I wanted to say? I think they were just basically saying, they're saying that they were kind of saying that maybe they didn't die out, that they just kind of interbred, that they were just as smart as us. Although many still search for a simple explanation and like to attribute Neanderthal demise to a single factor, archaeology shows there are no support for such interpretations. Why didn't they survive? These genomic studies suggest that anatomically modern humans and Neanderthals likely interbred and that the resulting male children may have had reduced fertility. Recent genomic studies also suggest that Neanderthals lived in small groups. All of these factors could have contributed to the decline, who were eventually swamped and assimilated by the increased number of modern immigrants. So now they just interbred, I guess, is the story. It's definitely a lot less violent than it used to be, but I don't know. A million different storylines. Which one are you going to believe? Fried bread brought up about moonbows. Yeah, we've covered those before. Weird to type it in. It's been a while since we talked about moonbows. Those are pretty old ME for me. It's worth it to bring these up again because they get more interesting. Didn't used to have that much color in the moonbows when I first saw them. They were like this. This is how they were. Now we are seeing a lot more double moonbows. Ooh, double moonbows. Moon is located behind the observer. Rain must be falling opposite the direction of the moon for the rainbow moonbows to occur. All right, so we've got double moonbows now. Dum da dum dum da dum. Excuse me. So I guess it's just like rainbows, except for it's moonbows. Moonbow is rainbow produced by moonlight rather than sunlight. The moon's getting so bright now that I guess it can cough up a rainbow. All right. We covered those before, but they were not with color before. Okay, this one was brought up by Jason, kind of in passing, but remember the American Kidney Foundation? American Kidney, does it ring a bell to you? Or is it the American Kidney Fund? Is that what you remember? Do you remember the American Kidney Fund? Does that ring a bell? Fund or foundation? Which timeline do you remember? Here we are at the American Kidney Foundation. That's what I remember. But it's American Kidney Fund here. I've never heard of American Kidney Fund. So, yep, that's what we got. There's no foundation anymore. No American Kidney Foundation now exists. Interesting. Anyway, I agree with that one. Jason brought that one up. All right, this is an extra weird one here. It's interesting. I thought I had a bunch of this stuff saved, but no. Chichen Itza. Bird and snake. Sounded bird. Okay, so the Mexican pyramids, like Chichen Itza, apparently have a neat sound effect thing they can do now. So, let me get to it here. It's at 137. Let's just stop it till we get over there. Okay, so apparently the Quetzalcoatl is supposed to be a bird on a snake. Let's see if I get that right. I don't want to play too much of the actual video because of copyright. The guy kind of explains it, but okay, so it's supposed to be like a bird and a snake, or a bird on a snake, feathered serpent, plume serpent. The guy describes it as Quetzalcoatl being a bird on a snake. Maybe that just makes it sound more interesting. But so apparently now, if you stand in a certain place in Chichen Itza, you will hear the sound of a bird followed by the sound of a snake rattle. So the sound echoes off of one pyramid structure and makes the bird sound, and then it echoes off of here right after and makes this like little rattle sound. So he is going to crank it a little, clap his hands, and that is going to make the bird and then the rattle sound.
Listen. The bird.
All right, so they're saying that this is like in honor of Quetzalcoatl, basically. I mean, this is really interesting. Can you possibly imagine the knowledge to make such acoustics on purpose. I'm not even sure, if our own people would be up to such a task as to do all that. I've actually not even heard of any artistry like that. I might actually want to look into it. But the people of that time understanding the way sound travels to that level, or I guess you could say it's a giant coincidence, but very interesting. I've never heard this story before. I think it's just setting the tone for some kind of a level of knowledge that is even far beyond what we used to hear attributed to them. And that one is from Thomas Larson. Very good find. Let's see. Oh, that Shrovetide thing that I talked about before in the UK, like the fighting football. That was Bob Robertson. The Neanderthals one, I'm pretty sure that was Bob Robertson. I didn't write it down, but I think that was him for sure. Okay, and Elora Caves was Bob Robertson. That's kind of the Bob Robertson zone pile of them there. Okay, we got that one. All right, so we're at the front page now. All right, we got the raccoon. Now, I saw this one a little bit before the other controversy, but I thought it was also interesting. Let's hope I can still find it. I'm not 100% sure this is an ME, but nobody who saw this, seemed to have recognized that this ever happened. So this was a little bit before the news hit about the Michael Jackson documentary. I can't say I'm really shocked about that documentary for just the simple reason that almost all the famous people are having history changes, and pretty much universally all the history changes have been to the negative, that they were kind of scummy people, they did scummy things. So the fact that it's now changed it, I mean, people can say the truth is coming out. I don't know, but I'll tell you that that some of those are definitely changes, like Bruce Lee ones. The history of Bruce Lee is very different now, and he's a scum. And they're saying that the rest of it was just whitewashing. No, it wasn't. It wasn't. That was the official story, period. So, anyways, apparently, Michael Jackson was on this aerial contraption here, and it fell 50 feet. And he fell on the ground pretty much. It wasn't a complete free fall, but luckily this guy does not get squished. But this shows the collapse here in a minute. So there's him. And apparently he was hurt pretty bad by that. And he did manage to finish his show, but he complained about a lot of pain. There's been this theory that he got addicted to pain medicine from vertebrae damage. And that the thing with the fire and his hair and stuff just added to it. I never heard of this, and I've never heard of this theory. And it just seemed like people on here had all never heard of it either. Everybody's like, oh, really? How did I not hear of that? Michael Jackson fans were saying they'd never heard of it. This whole theory that he started his pain addiction after this 50-foot drop, they'd never heard of it. I just thought it was really interesting. I was going to say that maybe he was going to be one of the first that actually had a better history, that, all these bad things happened to him, and that's why he became, so messed up with the drugs. But then, like 3 days later, this other thing broke, so I guess that's not going to... That exception did not actually occur after all. All right, this is another Bible change. I do not know if this was covered. Somebody brought this up. I don't know. I just thought it was really interesting. Let's see if I'm spelling that right. 8. And this one is from someone on Redcon by goes the name of Senorita Pants. Okay. Actually, that's not the exact wording. All right, let me go to a different one because I want to use the exact wording. Okay, so the lion and the lamb, that's changed a number of times, but apparently now there's like a leopard involved, and the whole thing is just getting really weird. The sucking child shall play on the hole of the asp, and the weaned child shall put his hand on the cockatrice den. Now, you can definitely see that there's kind of a lot of double entendre going on here, cockatrice and all this stuff. And of course, they're going to say that it was just like never meant that way. It's just that there's so many changes in the Bible that just sound kind of bad now, and then that I just don't think that's a coincidence. Let's see if I can find it. I want to see the whole thing now. This is Isaiah 11:8. The righteousness shall be the girdle of his loins, and the faithfulness the girdle of his reins. The wolf shall dwell with the lamb, and it used to be that the lion shall lay with the lamb. But now we've got the leopard shall lie down with the kid. I don't remember there being a leopard in there last I checked. I think that's new. That was what they were saying on Retcon, and I agree. The calf and the young lion and the fatling together. I think lion had gotten kicked out. I think it was just for a while the calf and the fatling together. So now there's a lion in here again. So last I checked, the lion was gone. So now we have a lion again. The cow and the bear shall feed. The young ones shall lie down together. The lion shall eat straw like the ox. I do remember something about eating straw, but I don't remember the cow and the bear shall feed. Then you got this weird sucking child. I thought it was the suckling child, but now it's sucking child. I swear to God there was an L in there. It was the suckling child. So it's just a little bit more gross, the sucking child now. And in that day there shall be a root of Jesse, which shall stand for an ensign of the people. And that just sounds weird. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria, from Judah, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I just think there's more changes in there, and that leopard and this whole of the asp and the cockatrice den. I don't think that was in there, and it sounds gross. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that one. Jupiter had 6 or less moons. I don't think any planet had that many moons for me originally. I think the most moons was 4. Sorry, when Jupiter jumped to 64, I quit counting. Yep. He dreamed of going to the art school in Vienna, but his drawings instead were more architectural. Yeah, I don't know. The Bible's a mess. It's so full of like creepy double entendre too. Yeah, I want to say the same. He wasn't an artist for me. I do kind of remember something about him wanting to go to art school, but nothing ever came of it. He never sold any art. He didn't do it. It's like somebody who draws a few things and tries to get into art school and they don't, and then they just give it up. It's that kind of thing. Cockatrice is a mystical serpent. Let's see. Two-legged dragon with a rooster's head. Huh. Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely from the brown-eyed Hitler timeline. That's a really big Emmy for a lot of people. Oh, see, for me, he was not accepted to art school, and so that was kind of like a thing where they said, he was downtrodden because they didn't accept him. I think there was something about money also. Michael Jackson was way more burnt in this timeline. Yeah, it could be. I remember his hair being on fire, but I don't remember seeing anything really visible. I don't remember him being nearly killed. Yeah. See, I don't remember this whole thing on his face like that. That's interesting. You could see his face. He looked fine, so I figured it was up in the hair region more. Yeah, that's interesting. I do think that he is in worth looking shape. I mean, they must have played that video a billion times. So, yeah, interesting. 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 All right. I think I've covered this one before, but I swear it's more weird looking now than before. This harpy eagle. The harpy eagle is legendary, although few people have seen one in the wild. I don't think it's legendary if not many people even know about it. Neotropical. It's also called the American harpy eagle to distinguish it from the Papuan eagle. So this harpy eagle is American. Harpia harpija. Among the world's largest and most powerful eagles. Their talons are 3 to 4 inches long, the same size as a grizzly bear's claws. How much can a harpy eagle lift? 17 pounds. All right, but this is the thing. It's weird looking. It has all this, the feathers all stick up. It looks ridiculous. So it can stick up all these feathers. You would remember that if you saw it. I actually saw it last year, so I do remember seeing it a whole year ago. But look at that. It's got a really, I think that the stomach has gotten a lot wider since I've seen it last. It looks like it's wearing a suit or something with white shirt underneath it. I don't remember that much color gradation differences in it as before. Now here's interesting because I did not see this last year. It's very neat looking when it flails out its wings. Very neat looking. And that, there was no images like that before. Nothing. So this thing continues to evolve, basically. Oh, here. Interesting that the nose is looking a little bluish in some of the images. I'm wondering if down the line it might change to be more colorful. There's quite a bit of variation in the coloration now. Look at how dark that one is. You can see it's a pretty big bird. See, again, it's depicted as kind of blue here. People will probably just write that off as some kind of bad color control on the camera, but you see it over and over again. And what I've kind of seen is that that's how it starts on things. It's kind of getting you used to the idea of this blue. Look at that, just cool. So anyway, I think we'll see more of that weird guy. And if it's like anything like the Emmy, then we may also start to see other weird habits that it has. Because it just seems like these ME creatures come up with weird... Look at that thing. Look at it. It's ridiculous looking. Can you imagine? Really, if I saw that, I would probably flip out. All right. I just noticed this the other day. Talking last week about the tipping of the logos, the tipping of the words on logos, and it seems to me like the Ford logo is starting to really tip. I just remember it being much more upright. I know it's cursive and all, but not everybody does cursive with the tip, and I don't remember it having the cursive tip as much as it does now. I think that it is definitely tipping. This top part here also has gotten bigger in recent months, and this curl down here, I think, the top of the F, this has gotten so big, and this hasn't. It really looks like Tord or Tord now instead of Ford. I mean, you actually have to kind of struggle to read that as an F now, as this has gotten bigger and this hasn't. The curlier Q seems to have gotten maybe a little larger. It doesn't really look like an F anymore. You wrote that down, people would just think it's, I think people would think it's a T, which is interesting. And there's one other one that I haven't brought up. I don't think I've brought this one up. For me, the Honda logo, it looks like upside down now. For me, the H was over in the middle here. Maybe even a little bit, the cross point was maybe even a little higher than the middle. And I've been watching it sink and sink. It looks upside down to me now. It looks like it should be the other way. I think that this is just dropping. It doesn't really look like an H anymore, like that. Anyway, so Honda logo for me changed. Continues to change. Okay. Harpy Eagle was brought up by user Crackle D Man on Redcon, but that's not my first time mentioning Harpy Eagle, but it is looking weirder. All right, this one was brought up by Chris Roberts, one of my regular channel commenters. I probably would have put this as the thumbnail, but I probably would have immediately gotten flagged by the system, so I didn't do it. So apparently elephants have woman parts now. I have never seen an elephant looking like this before. I think because they were so big that there was just room inside for the milk. They didn't have to have boobs before, but now they do. They have boobs. That one has it. That one has it. I've never seen that before. It looks really weird. There's not a lot of images that show it, but you can kind of see it in a few of these. See? No, didn't have that before. Nope. They were flat, you know. They're such a big animal, they didn't need to have like a whole separate mammary gland like that. It just wasn't necessary. So now you can see it's there's a lot of images of it. I don't know what to say, but not in my timeline. The Emmy just likes things look weird, I guess. Okay, we've seen a lot of weird snakes. The colors, the patternings look fake. Now we have some interesting movement patterns. It used to be they just go like this or the sideways one, but this guy can move like a caterpillar. Somehow it just takes its little sides and moves forwards like a little. He's got a very interesting coloration too. That's I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's I think it's a Gaboon viper, Gaboon viper. And if you look those up, it'll say they sometimes move like that, where they creep along like caterpillars. So that's a lot more sophisticated level. Can you imagine just like having a slab of meat that could just like almost like it has feet, except for it doesn't? That's just, it's a trip, that level of control over your musculature. That would be like laying on your stomach and then having your ab muscles pull you forward. I mean, just craziness. I don't know, who knows? Maybe it'll come. There's a lot of images of people without arms and legs lately. Maybe they're going to start walking on their abdomen muscles soon. So that one was on Reddit. I ran into that one on Reddit. All right. I also want to mention, this is kind of a more subtle one, but the patterning on a number of animals, the eye patches have changed for me. All right. Now, for me, the raccoons had more like a goggle eyes. They had a goggle of black. They did not have this white here. So they were basically gray with like a goggle of black. I've noticed that a lot of the animals that have black eyes, it's starting to be more like a strip coming off of the eye instead of like a encirculation of the eye. Let's see. So you see a lot of people with it, but see that's more like how I remember it. This was raccoon eyes, but now if she was raccoon eyes, she would have to have like a big black streak down their cheeks, like this raccoon has right here, or like this one. And that's when people say raccoon eyes, they're usually not saying that their eyes have the streaks way out the side like these raccoons have. Now, they're not the only ones that the eye patterns are doing that. I saw one other, but I'm guessing there's probably some others I'll maybe see later. But pandas also. Now, see, this image here is a lot like how I remember it, much more centered on the eye. But the actual ones now, I remember bigger circles around the whole eye. But now it's almost like a tier thing where the black is coming down. It's a little bit more like, there's almost none above the eye on a lot of these. So I remember it more like this. Or like this one. This is a lot more accurate to how I remember it. Panda eyes. Around the eye. Not dripping down like this. It gives a whole different look to it. It looks kind of sad. Look at how far down. I don't remember it being like that. They were bigger. The whole patterning was much larger. See how these are? That is more accurate to how I remember it. There's a fair amount of residual for it. This one is this one looks really good to me. This huge amount of black on the top here, that looks more like how I remember them. This is like opposite here. That looks like a dog instead of a panda. So anyway, I think that's changed a lot. Again, you could see in the old artwork, it's more stylized. Has not changed as much. Even this one, look at these big circles. This is more like how I think it should be. Circles. See how these toys are closer also. All right, so anyway, I just think that's really changed. All right, this one is kind of a two-stepper. I probably have mentioned this one before. There's some really weird, interesting breeds of horse now. And apparently this one, look at, these are known to have metallic fur. So they're saying that they're missing like the center of the fur shaft used to, in most horses is this opaque material, and it's missing in these Akalteki horses. And you can see they're strangely thin looking. They don't have this big barrel chest. They have a really long neck. They're just, I don't think we had any horses this skinny. It doesn't look very horse-like. If it didn't have the head and hooves, I would not think that that's a horse. It looks more like a regular, it just is, it's not, the chest is not right for a horse. Anyway, it's got, a lot of these have metallic looking fur, or hair, I guess you would call it. This one is an example. They come in different colors. Look at, this one also has the metallic. Look at the length of the neck and stuff. These are big horses. Very big horses. Another one with a metallic. Okay, so I was already, look at the neck length on that. That's ridiculous. I was already tagging these silver, metallic, but now they're all different colors. Metallic horses as being an Emmy. But now these have a special trait that genetically some of them are born without fur. And it's a genetic disease, apparently, that just this one horse carries. And I just think it's interesting that it's an Emmy horse for me, and now we've got this weird hairless, it's called naked foal syndrome. They're born without hair. So very interesting. They're not supposed to be very healthy, but I think we may find that will change. I almost put this one as the thumbnail. You wouldn't be exactly sure what that was if you saw it. So animals without hair seems to be a big thing in this timeline. There was, I think I already had this one on. Rabbit without hair. Here it is. So if you have a rabbit without hair, but interestingly, this rabbit just keeps hair in weird places. It's got a tuft on its nose, a tuft on each foot. So, just to look extra weird, instead of being naked all the way, some of these rabbits are born like this. Just weird. The Emmy just has to make them look weird. Look at that. Okay, so there's the weird rabbit thing. More weird anatomy changes. So apparently, if you get your appendix out and they make too big of a cut, this is what you get. It actually wasn't student doctors. There was an infection or something. They had to cut this out. So in my old timeline, for whatever reason, the chest was fairly solid. But apparently now, if you cut along the midline, it moves a lot. Let's see if I can get this thing to go. Come on. It's not. All right, it's still loading. Let's see if we can get this thing to load. Basically, he's had the surgery right here, supposedly for the appendix. Now, most of these are done laparoscopically these days, but apparently it was not done in his case. This is not working out. Let me see if I can reload this. It's like totally stuck. Ugh, not good. I don't know if that's going to load or not. Does not look good. I still have internet, right? Let's see. Yeah, Reddit comes up. All right. It's just that one that does not want to come up now. All right, now maybe we'll get it now. Does not look good. You may not get to see that one. But basically what happens is his whole chest kind of caves in. There's like a deep hole as he... It's really weird looking. I don't know if that one will load, but all right, let's move on. Amazon spider. You know I had to have a spider, so here it comes. Although you barely see it. And it's in the Amazon, so it probably won't get you. All right, so here's the thing. I've talked about spiders tackling small birds, but apparently they have expanded their mammalian diet to now collect baby opossums on their list of chow. So they're calling it the dinner plate sized. I hope this one will load. This one's... Oh, I will get this tummy one. All right, here we go. My old body would not do that, even if it was cut down the middle. That's all I have to say about this GIF. It just, no. No, 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 no. Anyways, I just had to say that was creepy. All right, are we going to get this Amazon spider? Let's see, I think it was this one. Such a junky one. All right. Let's see if I can get this to play. It was at 23.
We were doing a stand.
All right, so they actually just get a brief glimpse of this thing. Hopefully we can get to 23 here. I'm going to kill the sound. We don't need that. All right, so there's the spider. You can see that was a pretty short clip. Very short clip. Shut it. So there's a spider right here, and it's carrying a baby possum off. With pretty good speed, too, I might add. It's cruising along with this baby spider. I mean, with this baby opossum. So spiders are getting more and more creepy. That's all I have to say. They can carry baby possums now. My old timeline spiders only tackled other insects. They did not tackle birds. They sure as heck did not tackle baby possums. All right, I think that's it. Oh, you know what? I have this one. All right, this one is a lot more cute than a spider, so it's a good one to end on. Hopefully that's enough title to find it. There we go. All right, so basically he just saw this cute little fawn, but this is what I find really interesting, this patterning on this fawn. Now, in my old timeline, they were just kind of really bland, and they had a couple patches of white. Now they have a lot of white, but look at this pattern here. They've got this stripe with the white lined up along the back. That's new. And actually a lot of this facial marking is new for me too. They were just really bland coloration except for a few speckles of white, and that was it. You know, obviously this thing is super cute. All right, so let's look at these. Do we have a pattern of patterns on these baby deer? I was looking, and a lot of them, this one has it, but without the black. Now, see, this is more how I remember just speckles, but this one kind of looks like the speckles are lining up now. Oh, there's definitely a line of speckles on that one. This one has a line of speckles. That one hard to see. You can't see the top, so I'm going to let that one go. This one has it right here. Just did not have this line on my old baby deer. There was no line like that. But it looks like they pretty much, okay, I didn't even type in two-headed, but there's a two-headed deer for you because they're everywhere. All right, I've got to click on that. All right, that's just some weird. All right, anyway, so yeah, two-headed deer everywhere. Albino deer, very common now. There were also, last time I clicked on this, there was some deer with some really weird patterns, like just like one white with one giant blob on the head. Just, oh, here, just stuff like this. Really weird, blue eyes. It's not albino, but it's not normal. This one looks like it. Anyway, so it looks like they all have this stripe of lined up dots now. This one seems to have it. It seems like it's fairly universal. Oops. So like here, this one has it. Very striking. Just wasn't in my timeline. So I think that's most of what I have. Let's see what you guys are up to here. Could it be our atmosphere is thinning, expanding, stretching? Everything looks different, sun, moon colors. I thought of that, and that might be part of it. And also, there's another thing. Maybe our eyes are changing, and the way they scavenge light has changed, and that has made everything look different. But the moon definitely is brighter now, and we didn't have moonbows. We didn't have all these rainbow animals and stuff. So, I don't know. I mean, with so many things shifting, who is to know which, if even one thing can be, take all the credit for it? It may be that there's 6 different reasons why we see differently now. Okay, looks like I've lost a lot of, I'm way behind. Let's see. A few days ago, it hurt my eyes to look at the moon. Yes, and interesting, hey, Julie Holcomb's in. Interestingly, there's talk about that in the Bible. I think we've covered that before, that the sun will get 7 times brighter and the moon will get bright as the sun. Wait, what's the question? Is it Lone Eagle a 112358 or 112359? I remember 58. 58. It's 59 now? Really? Lone Eagle. You do have to be careful because it's actually really easy to change your YouTube name. So you just have to... sometimes people change it as a joke. I think Scott Harrison changed his as a joke just to see if people would notice once. It was definitely 5'8" before. That's one thing about Reddit. You can't change your username ever. You have to get a whole new account. Where does he say that? In the beginning, isn't it? It's not on here, is it? All right, let's just watch a quick clip here. We will skip the advertising, hopefully.
This is Lone Eagle 112358. Thank you for joining me today. I appreciate it so very, very, very much. I really do.
Quick video. Let me know if you guys have ever seen this before in your life. Oh, whoa, almost.
58. Thank you for joining me today. I appreciate it.
No, he still said 5'8". I heard it.
Good day, everybody. This is Lone Eagle 112358. Thank you for joining.
Nope. 12358. So, unless he changed it on some other video. Yeah. Okay, well, we all agree it's 5'8". Maybe he just sounded like he said 5'9" on one of the other videos, or maybe he was messing with you. Isaiah said the moon would shine as bright as the sun had. We're just about there. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it is pretty bright, I guess, when your eyes kind of hurt to look at it. It's not as bright as the sun was, though. But yeah. Funny how we've no interest in ever going back to the moon. Yeah, well, that was, yeah, I mean, that was what we said when there was one moon landing and we had never gone back after the moon landing, but now we went back 6 times. So we went back 5 more times. So you can't really say we never went back because in this timeline we went back 5 times. Beyond that, though, I actually did just hear some blather about them wanting to put a moon base up. I did wonder why they were just jumping straight to Mars all of a sudden, but there has been some yammer about a moon base just recently. Slanted moon with different craters. Yeah, the craters are constantly changing. Does that mean the Van Allen belts in our atmosphere? Yeah, I don't remember the asteroid belts being inside with being closer than Pluto either. There was one asteroid belt out past Pluto, and that was it. There was not one inside. Oh yeah, the human bowel. I don't know. I mean, I haven't looked at it in the last month. But yeah, overall, it is ridiculous. I don't know if you're just talking about old Emmys from 3 years ago. But, oh, you know, at this point here, seems like it's been getting higher. But yeah, it looks like the colon looks like a roller coaster now. That used to be just folded up underneath the small intestine. It did not look like a roller coaster. The exit point is huge. It looks like a giant millipede or something now. It's creepy. I've covered before that these weird yellow appendices, they're calling these yellow blobby things. Vermiform appendix. No, that's the original appendix there. Yeah, they're calling these blobby things epiploic appendages. I wonder if they've ever decided what those are good for. Omental appendices. You can see I've clicked on this before and it was for the old videos. Their function is unknown. We still don't know. All right, so we're still waiting on what's up. I have a feeling those didn't just show up for no reason, though. It would make going to the moon a lot easier. Yeah, if the atmosphere is out past the moon. Well, for now, it's not going to be, as best I can tell, it's not breathable atmosphere at all. It's a real thin amount of atmosphere. But I think what we'll see is that'll just slowly shift. Somebody was talking about pockets of gravity on there. That's one thing that I was kind of mumbling about as an ME a few years ago. Is they're saying that gravity is uneven on the Earth. The old timeline, there was gravity, was just gravity. You didn't have like pockets of heavier and less gravity. They're saying that extra metallic regions or magma. I don't know. It's just weird. To me, it's just weird that they're saying that there's different gravity in different parts of the Earth. That does not sound right. So this whole pockets of gravity thing, yes, it's weird. Chemtrails have been confirmed, but same as with moon, they are natural and called contrails. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with chemtrails, contrails. Could be atmosphere change. Could be change in the fuel. Could be creepy government program. I don't know. Some studies relate autism into being an expression of Neanderthal genetics. Could be. You know, that whole thing that we have Neanderthal genetics in us is only a few years old to my, well, they said it was new a couple years ago. I'd have to look at the history now and say when they're claiming that the idea was discovered, but to me it's all like part of the new reality, this whole Neanderthal interbreeding thing. Could I play the sound again? Yeah, I don't even know what sound we're talking about. I think that was like 10 minutes ago. Oh, okay, it must have been that well, you can, if you look at the video, you can pull that video up yourself. Then you can watch the whole thing and there will be no danger of copyright infringement. Just type in like the whatever that title of that video was that I showed. And then type the word YouTube in a Google and you'll find it. All right, it's jumping around on me. Let's see. 97. Okay, our body temp has changed again. A year ago it was 97.3. 97.8 for me. It has been for a long time. Temp now 97.7. It was 97.8 for me. What is average body temp? Now I usually run a little bit low on that. I rarely make it to 97.8. 98.6. Between 97 and 99. 99 was a fever. A temperature of over 100.4 means, most often means you have a fever. 98.6, that's interesting. So it's pretty hot now. 98.6 is not the average human body temp, study suggests. Apparently every scientist ever before this last 2 years was a complete moron, because like everything is being overthrown. Everything. Well, common knowledge suggests the human's body base temperature is 98.6. Adults' average normal body temperature could be closer to 97.7. All right. Well, it was always 97.8 for me. All right. That's a huge jump. That's like a whole degree difference. That's pretty interesting. Used crowdsourced data from an iPhone app called Fever Prints to analyze temperatures from 329 healthy adults. I mean, all that temperature taking in all those hospitals, and they're a whole degree off. They discovered fever occurred on average at 99.5 degrees. Weird. Okay. That's interesting. This was in 2018. That was the end of last year. All right, so, yeah. Any of you that remember 98.6, that was the old common knowledge. Did February spelling change from February? For me, it has been February for at least 10 years. They just say it like February. Do not ask me why. But if I can't tell you what it was when I was like 10 or something. I wasn't that good a speller. But I always remember it as February when it comes time to write it down. It used to be 98.7. 98.6 does sound somewhat familiar. This is an interesting one. I'm wondering, a couple timelines combined, and so now they're saying one was a false assumption and the other one won. It's the 97.7 timeline that won the war, I think. Bruce Lee is now scum. Yes, Bruce Lee is now scum. Bruce Lee now was addicted to hash. He probably died from excessive hash smoking. He cheated on his wife and took drugs right before he died. He did not die at home. He died in his girlfriend's apartment. So, yeah. Also, he was so vain that he had his sweat glands removed from his armpits so that he wouldn't sweat on camera, and that is believed to have contributed to his death. So, and they describe him as being kind of a jerk a lot of the time. So, yeah, he's scum. I mean, he's not the worst scum out there right now, but, he's not currently anybody that I would look up to other than his karate or his martial arts skills. But yeah, he used to be a pretty good guy, and now he's scum. Sadly to say. Then they're saying all that good stuff you ever heard was just like a whitewashing, of course. Yeah, so yeah, man, it says like way behind. I'm like a million years behind. Yeah, so supposedly Michael Jackson dropped 50 feet. You would think that would have been all in the news and stuff. I thought he just fell off the stage front, not from the rafters. That's interesting. Yeah, I know. If he just flopped off the stage, I doubt that that would have made much news, and I probably wouldn't remember it. But 50 feet is a hell of a drop. All right. There's something funky. I think I've lost a whole bunch of the lives. It seems like I'm not getting all of the chat. I'm going to try to reboot and see if I can get more chat. It's going to take an hour, of course. Maybe I'll jump over here. It's going to be faster. Good thing I had the sound off on that one. Didn't know Bruce Lee died. Yeah, a long time ago. Oh, Gandhi's a jerk now, too. I know there's really not hardly any good people left. I'm trying to think. Nelson Mandela is a jerk. Mother Teresa was a jerk. Is there any even left? I'm trying to think. All the founding fathers and all them were like scum and jerks. KC, welcome. Unfortunately, we're almost done. Betty White being alive is a pretty popular ME. I'm not really good at the famous people ones. I just don't watch enough TV. I used to watch a lot more TV, and so some of the older ones I'm better at. Bruce, when did we start talking about Betty White being alive again? It was at least a year ago when that came up. Oh, Elvis was terrible? I don't think any of them. I don't remember him being terrible in my old timeline. Let's type in something that should dig up the dirt. Love Me Tender, the dark truth about Elvis's relationship with his mother. Ugh, I'm almost afraid to read some of this stuff. Oh, you gotta be subscribers. Boy, she does not look like a happy woman in that image. All right. Well, that would probably take a while anyways, but yeah, I don't think there's any. I offhand cannot think of anybody. I don't know, Lincoln. I haven't heard anything bad about Lincoln yet. I think they're working on him being gay though. They've talked. There's been rumors about Lincoln being gay. President Lincoln, we're talking about. Science seems to be more mythical than past fairy tales. Just because someone states this does not make it proof where I'm from. Science based on theories, that's all. Yeah, I don't know. At first I see it. First I see ridiculous stuff on YouTube, and then I see science saying it's fact. I don't like, for instance, for several years now, people were saying the moon was inside the Earth's atmosphere. Look at the way the clouds are. They're going behind the moon. And I'm thinking, that's the most ridiculous thing ever. Now science says, guess what? The moon is within the Earth's atmosphere. Now, granted that the science has a slightly different spin on it, but nevertheless, the most ridiculous statement ever based on zero evidence suddenly became fact. So there's really no difference, it seems like, between ridiculous statements and fact. It's like some of these ridiculous statements just take hold. You see them everywhere, and now they're just becoming true. Gandhi was a womanizer. I saw a half-naked statue of Lincoln yesterday. There's a lot of creepy art in this timeline, and it goes back too. It's not even new. Are there any women who are jerks now? There's not a lot of women in history. I think they've just been showing up in history in this timeline, that more women are in history. But Nelson Mandela's wife was also a jerk, but that's kind of older knowledge for me, at least 10 years old. I mean, how many famous women in the past do we know? I mean, Cleopatra. I don't know. Think of some, and then we'll decide if they're jerks. A lot more women in history now. Yeah, there are a lot more, but they're not. Their whole personality and storyline is not much fleshed out, so I don't think we can really tell if they're jerks. Truth is stranger than fiction. We're trapped in our own reality show. I know. Monopoly being created by a woman. I never heard that before. Huh, okay, interesting. But I never knew who created Monopoly, so I can't. Madame Curie is still good. All right, let's see. Curie. All right, the dark side of the beautiful radium. All right, that's radiation, so maybe that's not her. Let's see if we can find the part where they talk about Curie. Radium was discovered by Mary and Pierre Curie. All right, there's not much info on her. The sex life of Marie Curie, Madame Curie. All right, let's check out these 7 facts. See if there's anything in them of interest. She worked out of a shack. She was originally ignored by the nominating committee. She refused cash. Einstein encouraged her during one of the worst years of her life. Huh. She had been involved in a romantic relationship with her married colleague, Paul Langevin, although he was estranged from his wife at the time. Curie was labeled a traitor and a homewrecker, and accused of riding the coattails of her deceased husband. All right, so all she did was have the married dude, apparently. But it looks like otherwise she wasn't bad. At least not yet. Unfortunately, the way this timeline runs, suddenly new info can be found at any time. All right, well, I think I'm getting to the bottom of the chat now. Florence Nightingale is still good. Yeah, just do your research and see. I don't know, hopefully. Maybe all the men will be jerks and then the women won't be or something. Maybe that's the new timeline. I don't know. There's so few women, it's hard to see the pattern. It's like women are just being inserted into the past. I remember Take Me Home Country Road. No S. That one is my timeline. The unreal is real. Purple and green cauliflower. No, I think that those weird cauliflowers are just natural. I'm pretty sure that those were natural. Colors of cauliflower. They're just going to say, oh, it was a little known. See, they're organic. This is also a lot of people. This weird geometric cauliflower is an ME. I never saw it until recently anyways. What we're not getting. This thing. This is real. This is a cauliflower grows like this. That's an ME for a lot of people. Colored cauliflower, natural. No, they're not painted or dyed. Purple cauliflower gets its beautiful hue from the presence of anthocyanin. Doesn't say if it's natural, though, of course. First discovered in Canada in 1970, although it took years of cross-breeding before it was widely available. Genetic mutation that allows the plant to hold more beta-carotene. That's orange cauliflower. Taste, subtle differences in taste. All right, it looks like they're all natural. And that's what I remember reading before, that these were natural, not GMO and not dyed. Some crossbreeding, but... So yeah, nope. Supposedly they're natural. All right, anyway, it's getting late, 2:15, past my bedtime. Now there's a shark with a bioluminescent nose. Actually, Ghosty 333, we covered it last week, but sharks with, and it's not just biofluorescent, it's bioluminescent now. Various body parts. There's numerous species of lantern shark with various bioluminescent features. That's interesting about the nose, though. I think I have to look at that now. Bioluminescent nose. That might be the one I looked at last time. Bulbous nose shark. Yeah, okay. I think that's the one. That's the one we covered last week. And they started out with those biofluorescent sharks, but now they're bioluminescent sharks. Check out the nose on that thing. That is absolutely ridiculous. It looks like it has nostrils and everything in there. I mean, you didn't really used to have noses on fish, not like actual protruding schnozzes. So weird. Modified a mouse with a bird, and now the mouse sings. My scientists create mice that sing like birds. Oh, I should play this one. Singing mouse. I think I heard about this one, but it's like squeaky or something. It's not really chirping like a bird. I think because it doesn't have the right parts, if I remember correctly. It doesn't have the right vocal cords and stuff. So it has that desire to sing like noises, but it's not able to. At least last I checked, that's how it was. One day we found a mouse that was singing like a bird. Note that the singing mouse was born by chance. They were expecting ones that were different by shape. Scientists have found that birds use different sound elements, put them together into chunks like words in human languages, and then make strings of them to sing songs. All right. So I think they're, with this statement right here, they are queuing up to say that birds have linguistic sentence structure. It's very interesting. I didn't expect to see that one, but I guess I shouldn't be surprised. Used to be they just mimic, but now they're saying that they have all of that makes it sound like it's a language. All right, so what we have no video on here. All right, they've got the singing mouse in quotes on here, so not sure how much actual tweeting like Tweety Bird we're actually going to hear. Turn off the yap. All right, I'm going to put this on, see if I can hear anything. Dang it, now we're at Bengal Kitten. No Bengal Kitten. Not having very good luck with YouTube today. All right, sound back on. All right, it's a little bird-like. Interesting. I mean, it doesn't sound really like a mouse. Huh, interesting. All right. Interesting. I mean, that by itself is not that scary, but, you know, what they may come up with next, who knows? Freshwater sharks. Yes, I've heard that one. There's also freshwater seals, freshwater dolphins, freshwater everything. Have I seen the talking dogs? I mean, I've seen the ones that say, like, I love you and those kind of things. All right, people are checking out. All right, I'm checking out. It's late. It's time for me to go. I'm going to pull this puppy up and check out. Usually I keep it over here. Let's see. Control room, please. Look, I'm still monetized. Sometimes they'll demonetize me. I haven't even finished with the video yet. It's funny. All right. Thank you all for coming. Very much appreciate it. This is Eva signing out for for Once Upon a Timeline.